All right, good morning and welcome to Staying Mission Driven, August 2024. Thank you for being here and taking time out of your morning to hear from me and updates on the program and what's going on across the state. You will receive an email from GivePulse asking you if you attended this meeting. Please go ahead and confirm your attendance when you receive that email so that you get credit for being here today. All right, so here's the agenda. Updates for the welcome and announcements. Talk about Northwest Farm Garden Festival, Program Foundation Relations a little bit. Oh, I don't have an update for annual certification. It will not change, but we're starting to work on the surveys for annual certification for 2025, but it'll look pretty much the same as it did last year. AEC, and then the Telling Our Story team a little bit, and state foundation updates. So I am thrilled with the way that the legislative tours went last couple weeks back. I heard it went great with a number of follow-up requests from visitors who wanted to learn more about our program and in particular partnerships with the tribes. So, you know, as volunteers, I was really proud of what happened there and in these visits, and that we were even selected to be a part of the tour. You are the face of the university for us in our communities, and
You didn't like it. Sorry.
let's see. Yep. So the messages that you shared about our program priorities and the ways in which we build a resilient Washington really make a difference when you're out in the public and speaking on behalf of the program. So thank you. Is there it was already recording. Is there anybody that was on that tour that wants to chime in? Talk about it a little bit. Tell us about what happened.
Jennifer, Deborah Smeltzer here. I'm happy to say a few words.
Yeah,
we were very pleased to host in Mount Vernon. The whole tour came and visited the Research and Extension Center, and then we had a short visit at the garden and a brief talk telling about the history of our program, all the different demonstration gardens in Washington State, which Jennifer provided good data for us, talked about program priorities, and then about our program in Skagit County. Very engaged group. People had come from as far away as Washington, D.C. These were congressional and legislative staff members, and it was pretty exciting how engaged they were and how interested they were in our program.
Thanks, Deborah.
And all that from Pierce, I want to express my thanks to our colleagues at Skagit and Snohomish, because by the time the tour got to Pierce, they were well informed and the depth of their questions was quite incredible. Again, they had a tour with us. We had dinner in the garden and the opportunity to have conversations that are more than just those at the surface. I'm convinced that the results of that tour will put even more of a focus on advocacy for our Master Gardener program during this legislative session. So thanks, Snohomish and Skagit.
I'll add one more comment. It was a little surprising that the WSU staffers in their development office were so unaware of our program before this tour. And I think they came away very well informed and very engaged. So kudos to all of you based on the follow-up questions we got. So well done.
Yeah, that's a good point, Deborah. I mean, you know, WSU is a big institution, and our Connors College development folks are very well aware of who we are. But an opportunity to even go further up the chain to talk about who we are and what we do. It's a great opportunity for us, both internally and externally. So, yeah. All right. And then I'm sure many of you have seen the announcement from Dean Powers. Unfortunately, she has resigned her position. Yeah, Deborah, I saw your face, so you hadn't read that yet. Dean Powers has been a staunch supporter of the Master Gardener program here at Washington State University. She will leave at the end of spring semester 2025. Her announcement says sometime around the end of June. I'm disappointed. I think she was a fantastic leader for Connors and for Extension, and in particular for our Master Gardener program. She came to WSU with a lot of experience with Master Gardener programs, and her support was felt through the 50th anniversary. She attended many of our events. Her support was felt, through her engagement in the Endowed Chair campaign. And, just her willingness to meet with me and with volunteers across the state really, I think, speaks volumes about how she feels about the Master Gardener program and its ability to make good, positive change in the state. So I guess I'm telling you this because, we don't know who's coming next. We don't know, and no, I don't even know the process yet. They're working on what the process will be to replace her. So it's just now is a more important time than maybe just 2 days ago to make sure we do continue our program evaluation and our ability to tell our story across the communities, but also up the chain, right? So that when somebody does come in, maybe they don't know about the Master Gardener program, and we need to be ready to tell them, with data that we are a very important part of the land grant mission and to serving and building a resilient Washington. I shared this with coordinators yesterday, and the coordinators were feeling very appreciative of Wendy's service and looking forward to spending some time with her, over the winter, fall and spring semester to show our appreciation. So more to come on that. I will keep you posted, but it is, the Connors Dean is an important position for us, and I will be certain to advocate for our program and for you in any way that I can, including pulling in the state foundation leadership to help advocate for our program while we're searching for a new dean. I'm going to do the best I can for you. Questions, thoughts there? Kitty?
I'm sorry, I don't have a question about that, but we just got this message from Gail's AI, and I just want to make sure it's legit. So, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure what that is. I think it's a personal recording that somebody's asking to allow. There are I've had this happen on national meetings, and most on national meetings, the universities don't even allow that. They've got that turned off on their Zoom. Ours doesn't. Ours must allow it. So I think it's legit, but it allows for personal recording.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, do we know why Wendy has decided to retire? This is a fairly short tenure as dean.
Yeah, it's in the announcement. She indicates wanting to spend more time with family and friends.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
She also said that she feels like she cannot, she came to WSU with very specific goals in mind, and she feels like she's not able to meet those.
Wow.
Yeah. So I haven't spoken with her, but I'm hoping to have the opportunity to do that. All right. So it is, believe it or not, we're planning for the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival 2025. And it's time to help recruit volunteers for that, to serve there. We are going to have a theme this year that's gardening in a changing climate, to follow on with the theme of the conference and what matters to people right now. The booth will contain learning stations offering research-based actions that guests can take in their own gardens to mitigate the effects of climate change. And they will really center on our program priorities. We are going to need 6 volunteers per county whose foundation is sponsoring Northwest Flower and Garden Festival, a list of 6, right? And then we have some lessons learned from previous Flower and Garden Festival recruitments, and I shared some of those lessons learned yesterday with program coordinators. But the purpose, the biggest lesson we learned is that we want to make sure that all volunteers have an equal opportunity to volunteer. There was some perception that there was some handpicking going on, that volunteers who were still working full-time were not given an opportunity to volunteer because it was done on a first come, first serve basis. So I encouraged coordinators to think about the process by which they will recruit volunteers. We've talked about some different ideas, to make it equitable for everybody. Some of the ideas include, putting it out there and then having a deadline for response. The recruitment contains the position descriptions with the knowledge, skills, and abilities that we're looking for in volunteers. So another idea was to ask volunteers to write a letter of interest, outlining why they want to volunteer there and how their knowledge, skills, and abilities match up. It's a popular gig, so to speak, and a lot of volunteers want to support it. The other thing we talked about was, if you have already volunteered at the festival, give somebody else an opportunity to volunteer at the festival. So we have, share the wealth, so to speak. But it's also important to have seasoned volunteers who have worked the festival before, to be there too, just so we're for continuity. So we're out in front of it this year. We're trying to be, give coordinators more time and then us more time to review and slot volunteers into the shifts. So we've asked that coordinators send a list of up to six Master Gardener volunteers who have the skills and abilities outlined in the position descriptions by October 15. So they'll send those over to me, and then I'll work with the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival Committee to slot the volunteers in. But some, even if the counties do send 6, that doesn't mean that all 6 of those people will have a shift. So we're trying to do it better this year, making sure everybody has an equal opportunity. I will send the recruitment letter to coordinators tomorrow, and then hopefully they'll be able to get that out fairly soon. Questions?
Go get Gary. Where's Gary?
All right. Oh,
I have one question, and
Joyce, yeah.
Will we be selling tickets as Master Gardeners again? And do we know the price?
Selling tickets for the festival.
Yes.
There will be an opportunity for you to sell the tickets at a reduced rate, and I do not know the price right now.
Thank you.
All right. So next is a little bit on program foundation relations, and I just want to, WSU really values the partnerships that it has with the foundations across the state. We appreciate the financial support, the volunteer structure and decision-making abilities that the foundations provide, and we're very grateful for those relationships. I am very appreciative for the partnership that the state program has with the Master Gardener Foundation of Washington State. President Tana Hassert and I work very closely together on nearly everything that we do, from the program and to the foundation. We're always in touch. We're always in touch with each other and bounce ideas around together. And I value that relationship and the trust that Tana and I have. We very much work hand in glove, and program decisions are based on, and I think foundation decisions are made and based on a very collaborative process. The State Foundation provides financial support. The Northwest Flower and Garden Festival is an example, Advanced Education Conference, the Evergreen Thumb, Endowed Chair Campaign. But they're also available to support local foundations, volunteers, and coordinators toward creating a mutually beneficial partnership. That sounded probably really, I don't know, but I want to make sure that you also know that we don't always see eye to eye, right? And that's great. I mean, we have disagreements, but those disagreements lead to better outcomes because we can sit down together and talk about solutions and find a solution that works for both of us, for both parties involved. I'd say, we're really truly a team that works toward supporting the WSU Extension Master Gardener Program mission. I think most of you know that we have been working since 2018 and are still working on reconnecting volunteers and foundations to the work of the program, to the work of WSU Extension. I think many of you have probably heard the internal vision that I have for our program that we've created as a cohesive statewide program of highly trained, competent, and engaged volunteers. And then there's a number of bullet points that go with that. One of those bullet points are, engaged volunteers who know and understand their connection to Washington State University Extension. For many years, historically, for a lot of different reasons, and nobody's at fault here. I'm not blaming anybody. But the foundations were very much in charge of the program, and the lines were extremely blurred. Since 2018, we've been trying to clear up those lines a little bit, trying to help volunteers, program coordinators, county directors, county coordinators understand the difference and what that partnership could look like if it was a true partnership where both parties had equal value and appreciation for the other. In some counties, there is still a pretty large disconnect between program and foundation, a disconnect between, between the way that WSU feels the partnership should be and the way that the foundations feel the partnership should be. And sometimes that, disconnect causes unrest in the program and in the foundation membership. And so I just want to remind you, that we do have tools in place. We have trainings in place. The program, state program is here. The state foundation is here. If you are one of these counties who is still feeling like you're not really, firing on all cylinders, so to speak, with this partnership, let us know. We want to support you. We want to help you. We want you to be successful in this partnership, because the partnership is what allows us to really be successful in serving our mission and vision of our program. It could be a win-win, right? If we're serving the mission and vision of the program at the best of our capacity, then foundations will also be elevated. So, and be able to, raise more funds and support the program at a higher level. So, that some of the things that the State Foundation has been working on, I think, are very supportive of this. We've made great progress on, realigning and making sure that the program and foundation are working together towards shared goals. And we've made such great progress because of you and your local counties, because of local foundations, because of the work that the State Foundation has done with me on program foundation relations, but also with the documentation and that the State Foundation is working on, and being ready to support you in the local counties in making sure that we are all working toward the mission and the vision of the program. Tana, do you have anything you want to add?
I'm going to talk just a bit more about that when my report comes up, but I want to emphasize the critical nature of understanding the relationship between foundation and program, and also reinforcing what a difference it can make at the local level in really realizing better progress, better goal attainment, better cooperation and communication when things are in alignment.
Thank you, Tana. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts they'd like to add? I see Gilbert put a document in the chat. It's a graphic representation of the relationship. Thank you, Gilbert. All right. So just remember that there are tools out there. There are trainings, and we're here to help. We're here to support. I don't want to speak on behalf of the foundation, but I think we're all on the same page. The State Foundation and the program are committed to helping you serve the program in the best way that we can. All right, Debbie, are you on? You want to give the Advanced Education Conference update?
I am.
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. Registration continues to pour in. Where so far we have 469 registrations as of a couple days ago. We've got a great lineup of speakers, and just a reminder that when you register, there is an option for $10 off for Master Gardeners, as well as WSU faculty and staff. So, a lot of work's going on behind the scene. And we're looking forward to a great conference. So one note is that you may have gotten an email from Zoom about a separate link. And what's going to happen is the foundation annual meeting and awards ceremony is going to be separate from the conference because it's open to everybody. So whether you're registered for the conference or not, you're welcome to attend that, and we encourage you to do that. So we will be sending out a link for the annual meeting to everybody. And then if you're registered for the conference, there will be a different link that you'll need to use to get into the conference. But you'll be hearing more about that in a couple of weeks. So are there any questions?
I think Tana's going to talk more about the annual meeting too, so there'll be.
Okay, great.
We do need session hosts, right, Debbie?
Yes.
Do you want me to do this?
Yeah, I think you've been working with Kathy on that more than I have, so.
Yeah, okay. So because this year's conference is virtual, we don't need nearly as many volunteers to help us make sure that this conference is a success as normally. So for the most part, all we need are session hosts. And these session hosts must be registered to attend the conference. And then your responsibilities will be to introduce the speaker, monitor the Zoom Q&A, and conduct a Q&A with the speaker. The Live Oak Tech Team, the Live Oak is the organization that the State Foundation hired to manage all the tech for the conference. So if you're interested in being a session host, you will connect with Live Oak Tech Team to do a training session on the Zoom platform that they're using, which is different than the same. I mean, it's Zoom, but it's going to be a different part of Zoom that maybe you haven't used before. So they'll do a training on how to be a moderator in the Zoom webinar and handle the Q&A. So you'll get some training on that. It'll be important that you feel comfortable interrupting the speaker to keep them on time if that's needed. They all know that, you know, the 60 minutes is what they're supposed to be delivering. But I think we probably all know that sometimes it's hard to keep it 60 minutes when we get things going. And then thank the speaker at the end and the attendees at the end of the presentation. I think we need maybe 9 or 10 volunteers still that to sign up. And you can sign up by going to GivePulse, to your county GivePulse page. And you can find the event and click into the event. So every county has their events listed a little differently. So you might scroll down on the home page of your GivePulse group to find what this looks like. And one of the events is PS AEC 2024 session host. So that's a hot link. You can click right into there and select the shifts that you want to volunteer for. Some counties have their events listed in calendar view, and that looks like this. So if yours is calendar view, you'll see this. The blue cells are open shifts and the gray cells are closed shifts. You'll also note that you can click in there to see 4 more. So if you click the 4 more, you'll see other available shifts. So if you're interested in being a session host, we'd love to have you. Please sign up by September 4th. Yeah, Sandra put a note in that attending, being a session host will be continuing education hours. And trainees, I think there was a question directly to me, but I think it's relevant to the group, particularly for this. I think trainees can definitely do this position. They don't need to be certified. Any questions on that? Oh, and Debbie just put a plug in to register for the conference. Thank you, Debbie. All right, and then I just want to say, we kind of talked about it at the beginning with Wendy's resignation and a need to continue on this path of program impact and public value and doing the evaluations of your outreach. So I want to say thank you for working on that and, asking participants in the educational outreach activities that you do to complete the evaluation surveys so that we can really show Connors that the Master Gardener program works toward providing a secure food supply chain. We help maintain, sustainable and natural resources and support thriving, healthy communities, families, and individuals. And, we create an adaptable workforce. I think that one of the 4 pillars of the Resilient Washington Initiative, I think creating an adaptable workforce might be one of those that's less obvious, but I thought I would share an example of that one. I received a phone call from the director of Parks and Rec for the city of Federal Way. The request was for a copy of the Master Gardener volunteer certification. They wanted a copy of the certificate because the person who works for the parks, if they could show their Master Gardener certificate, would receive an increase in their salary. So we hit all 4 of these pillars through our programming. And it's going to be, it is important and it will continue to be important for us to be able to show with data how the work that we do serves these 4 pillars. I think I've shown you this before, but this is an example of what our local food impact statement looks like. We have the issue here. We know, there's, and the issue is cited with the WAFOOD brief 14, stating that, 27%, between 27% and 49%, or 1.5 million households experience food insecurity in Washington. Information about what food insecurity, how it impacts communities in disproportionate ways, and how those impacts, how food insecurity, causes economic and mental health burden across Washington and the United States. And then the second page of that is really what we do to mitigate for those consequences. Our outputs, these are the things that we do. We, in 2023, had 900 classes on local food, answered 10,000 questions, and we have podcasts and newsletters and tip sheets food demonstration gardens, community pea patch style gardens, partnerships with SNAP-Ed, 4-H, Veterans Affairs, immigrant and low-income communities, and correctional facilities. And the program impact, knowledge gained. We can show what people have learned. The next thing that we will do to get at public value is, we'll send out surveys again, but this time we're going to ask them, what did you do because of what you learned? And then over time, we'll be able to show community change because of what people learned and because of what they did. And that's the public value. So I want to just again say thank you for your work and for continuing on this path of program evaluation so that we have the data that we need to back up the good work that we know we do and know the differences that we make in the communities that we serve.
Oh, are they in? Let me see.
And I've got. So there's a lot of tools available for you to do program evaluation. And those can be found on the Master Gardener website under for volunteers in the local food libraries or the program priority libraries. Good program evaluation allows us to tell that compelling and impactful story drives our decision making. Data-driven, we can see what people want from us, trends over time. Opens up new opportunities for collaborations and partnerships, which have the potential to increase funding. So I'm asking you to sync up with your program coordinator to find out how you can support program evaluation in your local county. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Tana.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning. It's certainly fall, or at least here in Puyallup. We're expecting rain today, and my garden is really soaking up all that water. You're probably realizing same kind of situation. So I've got just a few things to share with you this morning. The first is encouraging you to talk to your local Master Gardener Foundation of Washington State Board representative. We ask them to come back and to share information about what's going on with the state foundation at the local level. But we also want you to be curious. So have a conversation with them, ask about the work that's in progress. Think about how you can help support their efforts and watch for the kinds of changes in work product that we are producing in order to realize that good connection between the state program and the work of the state foundation. Jennifer talked before about that program foundation relations issue. And in reflecting back on the last year, this is probably one of the biggest challenges that many state foundation, local foundation chapters are facing. And, I want to emphasize that when there is that lack of alignment, often it's not intended, often it's not done out of any kind of ill will. we just slide into patterns because of what occurs at the local level. And every so often just need to do a bit of a recheck. You know, on one hand, it's easy to say program manages the education component. Foundation is dedicated to financial support of that. But it is a complicated relationship that when it's in alignment and in tune, provides such value. So again, I want to join Jennifer saying there are a number of tools that can help. We've made ourselves available for board training, orientation of new board members, or simply coming in and doing a bit of a tune-up. So feel free to call on us, ask questions, and engage us in helping when you just want to make sure that those local relationships are going well. We also have been doing work products at the state level that I believe will be very helpful to you. I want to commend Dawn Enstrom, Gilbert Placentia, Erin Hoover, and especially Kathy Lamoureux, who's been facilitating the process. We are taking new bylaws back to our membership. We have a special meeting called for September 4th. We've worked hard on the revisions to those bylaws. And we would encourage you, each of the board representatives have copies. We've given them about 3 weeks to review those before our conversation. But those bylaws were carefully crafted to ensure that they're in compliance at the federal level, that they meet Secretary of State and revised Code of Washington standards. Those are our local state standards and legal requirements. And that they also meet best practices as reflected at the national level. So we're eager to the conversation, and our hope is that by September 5th, we will have more information to share with you about that process. We've also gone back and carefully revised or created job descriptions for all of the state board positions. And we've also created comprehensive descriptions of each of our standing committees that are in place. Dawn likes to joke a bit that the foundation the last few years was so busy getting started and focusing on their mission and becoming a stable financial effort that now we've grown enough, we can go back and attend to some of these items that we think will be best practice documents for you, but also encourage people to join our effort as volunteers on committee, members of the board, or officers for the organization. So watch for those coming your way soon. We also want to share that all MGs statewide have an opportunity to attend our annual meeting. We'll be giving a brief update of the work we've done on your behalf and local benefit. We'll have our annual financial report, and we also will have elections during that time period. So if, as a general master gardener who's not connected often with our board meetings, if you're curious and interested, know you are more than welcome. At the end of our period together, Tim Kohlhoff and I will be emceeing the state awards. I am thrilled to tell you that we had nominations in all of our award categories this year. And we, the awards committee has selected awardees in each of those categories. So join us for that part of the celebration. It's important recognition of the critical nature of the work that your colleagues are doing. I think, Jennifer, with that, other than one small plug here, if your foundation has not yet stepped forward as a 2025 sponsor for the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival, please think seriously about that. We reach so many people with our message about who we are and what we do. And as we go into a season where we have more opportunity to do financial development work with our public and private donors, as we move forward in beginning very early conversation about engaging in the future in grants, having that kind of fundraising is critical. So talk at your local level about the importance of supporting. We know that different chapters have different financial well-being. And so even if it's a small donation, it is so appreciated. Plus, it opens the door to having volunteers from your local program who can work at that festival. So with that, Jennifer, I'll turn it back over to you. If I've missed anything, feel free to ask questions.
Great, thanks, Tana. I have one thing I want to add to Tana's comments about the bylaws, the updated bylaws that will be presented on September 4th. She mentioned that they're updated to meet the legal requirements and best practices. But I also, what's important to me is that they really kept WSU in mind sole support of the Master Gardener program while they were updating those. And I was I wasn't a part of the meetings, but I was kept apprised of what was happening. And Tana and I talked about different things and that, I was hoping to see in the bylaws, and the board made the committee made adjustments in those bylaws based on my input. And so I think is a really important aspect of when, that shows that partnership and the collaboration. I don't make program decisions in a vacuum. I'm always bouncing ideas off of Tana. And I think, it's important for you to think about that as you are doing this work in your counties. And so I appreciate Tana and the state board, their willingness to include me in their decision-making, because that keeps us in alignment and moving forward on the mission of our program. So thank you, Tana.
That's an important point. Thanks for bringing that forward, Jennifer.
Any questions for Tana? Any good of the group? Erin, hi.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to, I think I mentioned this at the last meeting too, but we are still looking for an editor for Seeds for Thought. I'll be stepping down at the end of the year, so you have one more issue to train with me and learn the ropes. It's all done in WordPress as a blog, so the WordPress skills are not highly technical. So if you have average computer skills and an interest in editing and communicating with master gardeners across the state, this would be a good opportunity. And I am also looking for guests for the podcast. I I'm excited. I just confirmed a guest from Pend Oreille County, Master Gardener. And so if Pend Oreille County can be involved, all the counties can be involved. And so we want, my goal is to have at least one Master Gardener from each county eventually to be a guest on the podcast. So if you have a topic that you're passionate about and you can talk about all day long, email me and we can hopefully find a place for you on the show.
Thanks, Erin. I on the piece about the podcast, it's not live, and Erin does a fantastic job of editing. So if you're interested in talking about a subject that you're passionate about, but feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm good enough to be there, and I might stutter and I might go, well, Erin's going to edit all of that out, and it will be a very professionally sounding interview at the end. So don't be concerned about, tripping over your own words.
It's almost like a one-on-one
Yeah.
Zoom meeting is basically what it is.
Uh-huh. Anything else for good of the group? Many of you are gearing up for basic training to start in January. Intern training, basic training. The other thing I did yesterday too, I shared with coordinators a new alternative for the application, Master Gardener intern application. So we have a Word document available, we have a fillable PDF available, and now we have a Qualtrics survey available that your coordinators have access to. And that allows for people, interested volunteers can go in, they can start to fill it out, and then if they get interrupted, they can close it down and come back and finish it later. And then it allows for you as program, training leaders to export the data into Excel. So it's easier for you to review all of the applications and the responses to the applications, and separate out the demographic data so that when you are reviewing the applications, the demographic data is not included in that. So hopefully that will be helpful. Deborah?
Yes, just one quick comment. As we were reviewing the application for next year, we added some skill sets that we wished we'd had visible to us before, especially in the financial arena. So like accounting, tax, insurance, financial, because that's one of the hardest roles we need to recruit for. And it's hard to know sometimes if our applicants have those skills. So just thought I'd share that with the group as a whole. And hopefully you'll get it in those kind of things into the statewide version as well.
So we just reviewed the application and added a number of new ones for 2025, but I don't think that was one that we added. Yeah.
You might want to consider it. We felt it was very important because we are having a hard time finding people with those skill sets.
Right. I used to ask that question during the interview process.
We will be.
It is hard. Yeah, it is hard. All right, well, so our next meeting is in October. We will not have a staying mission driven meeting in September. And Tim is going to be taking my general responsibilities at the AEC this year. I will not be in attendance at the Advanced Education Conference. Our daughter is getting married on Saturday, the 28th. I know, it's coming up fast. So I will miss the conference, which makes me sad, but you understand.
Family first.
So thank you, Tim, for stepping up there, and I'm excited to celebrate. Okay, we'll see you in October, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Take
Thank
care.
you, Jennifer. Yep,
Bye-bye.
and everyone.